Okay, we'll move straight on to the next panel. Thank you very much, Minister, who'll sit in the middle there. And I'd like to welcome the chair of the panel, André Pinto, who is the Business Development Director for Africa for JP Inspiring Knowledge. And André will be joined by His Excellency Abdullahi Noor, who is the Minister of State for Post Telecommunications and Technology for Somalia. Honourable Mamadi Gobeh-Kamara, who is the Deputy Minister of Information and Communications for Sierra Leone, and His Excellency Professor Pedro Teta, who is the former Secretary of State for ICT for Angola, and is now the Executive Director of the Angolan Sovereign Wealth Fund. So what I'm going to do, André, we have to sort of push along with time. So I'm going to hand over to you to take the questions, and we'll keep an eye on the clock. Thank you very much.
Good morning, all. Thank you for being here. Starting with Honorable Minister of Communication of Ghana. First of all, thanks for hosting us on this high-level forum. First, I want to congratulate you for the e-Transform project that boosts Ghana to be one of the leaders on African telecommunications sector. The e-Transforms project shows improvements on efficiency, coverage of governance service, particularly in rural and underserved areas. This is important projects involve the development of internet and computer in networks, shifting away from books to bytes. So, going straight to our first question, Honorable, your Ministry of Communication has been launched a number of initiatives in the field of ICT, aiming to equip Ghanaian youth with fundamental digital skills that help them to join the job market. One of those initiatives is Girls in ICT, which exposes young girls to basic programming and creating skills to improve their critical thinking abilities, and they develop their career interest. How are the community responding to the initiative, and what are the next steps in delivering your digital vision, Your Honor?
Thank you very much. We started working on the Girls in ICT initiative a few years ago as part of the ITU's Girls in ICT program to narrow the gender digital divide. But because of the tremendous clamor, interest in it, we've moved it from just an annual event to a biannual event. We're doing it twice a year. We've increased the scope of the number of girls that we train at each session from 600 excuse me, to 1,000 now. We have added the mentorship program, which is exciting for me even more than the actual training that the girls give, because they see technology at work in living examples, who share their experiences with them. In the female mentors in technology share their experiences with them. And not only that, I think we're getting a bit swamped now, because there's a clamor around the country that everybody wants us to come there. Why, when are you coming to our part of the country? Because we're not doing it only in the big cities. We go to the remote communities and bring girls in junior high schools across those various districts to congregate at the regional capital and give them a 1-week instruction. But we train their teachers as well, so that they can go back and continue with that training. And for the schools that don't have access to either a network or even the devices, we set up computer laboratories in their locations. So through that, we are expanding the pool of ICT knowledge around the country to the unserved and underserved areas. And it's received tremendous support around the country. I must commend the National Communications Authority and the Universal Service Fund, GIFIC, for supporting this program. We receive very little external support, so we utilize our own internal resources for it. And giving the girls devices, giving their schools devices, giving their teachers devices and training would help sustain the program over time, so that some of the takeaways are the uptake, the way they've taken to this program. After just 1 week of training in coding, they're building their own websites. So if they have sustained exposure to these digital skills, they can do amazing things. So I recommend it to all of us here, and it's been extremely successful.
Okay, thank you. And of course, you have been recognized internationally on that.
Yes.
That's why you received the ICT International Prize. I congratulate you on that. In Hungary, that you receive your prize.
Right.
Thank you. Changing now to Honorable Minister of State for Post, Telecommunications and Technology of Somalia. Honorable Minister, last April, your minister launched the consultation process for National ICT Policy 2019 to 2024. And this morning, Your Honor updated me that is already approved. Congratulations on that. Also in April, your minister started a process for the first National Innovation Center called So Nice, and to enable the youth access to tools to innovate and market creative ideas. Congrats on this initiative that is in line with the National ICT Policy, which clearly stipulates the use of ICT in education. Going straight to our first question, Your Honor, for Somalia to really move forward, would you agree that needs to be a substantial increase in investment and planning of fiber optic and Wi-Fi connectivity? Accordingly, how is your minister trying to attract such investment to your country?
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Somalia currently has access to 3 fiber optic cables. Currently, the private sector is investing in 2 other fiber optic cables. Our ministry has recently completed a report on broadband backbone in Somalia, where we analyzed the needs, resources, plans, and governance options. The report gives the private the investment opportunities in building an ICT infrastructure, especially fiber optic cable. To attract investment in fiber optic cables, our ministry provides free land around the coast where the landing station can be established. We also give them concession in taxes in the first few years.
Thank you, Your Honor. Moving to Honorable Deputy Minister of Information and Communications of Sierra Leone. Last month, the President launched the National Innovation and Digitalization Strategy, NEEDS, for better access to information and quality of education. Also, last May was published the National ICT Policy for next year. Straight to our first question, Your Honor. About Sierra Leone National Innovation and Digitalization Strategy, what current steps is your minister taking in order to create digital environment for business and school in Sierra Leone?
Thank you very much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And thank you for the question yet again. My ministry in particular is working with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and other partners through the Connect School and Connect to Community programs to extend broadband services, provide digital platforms, digital content and tools to enable the education sector in Sierra Leone. One, expand access and improve quality. Two, we have extended broadband to all colleges and universities to promote quality tertiary education as well as peer collaboration. We have also facilitated the participation of our universities and colleges in West and Central African Research and Education Network to promote regional peer learning and to enrich research and learning in these institutions. Other specific actions we are taking to create digital environment for our schools include modernizing, or call it reviewing, the current curricula to exploit ICTs for learning. We are also initiating the ICT for Girls program across the country for training in computing skills for our girls to basically give them the opportunity to be more proficient in ICT. Now for businesses, these are some of the things we're doing for school. I mean, we have a host of them, but I just mentioned just this few. For businesses, our government would promote the use of digital technologies to improve productivity in the growth and service sectors of the economy. Now, the 2020 national budget creates a lot of incentives for firms to invest in more efficient digital solutions and encourage the entry of startups that can put competitive pressure on incumbent firms. So we also encourage and promote the use of low-tech, disruptive applications such as mobile money to increase financial inclusion. So these are some of the things that we are working on as far as that is concerned.
Thank you. This is good news for the business sector that we are here. So yes, we need to look to your country very deeply, and thank you. Moving forward to Professor Pedro Teta, and Honorable former State Secretary for ICT in Angola, and now Executive Board of Sovereign Fund of Angola. Can you outline Angola's plans to develop ICT to reinforce both rural and urban infrastructures? Does the Sovereign Fund have a role to play in this kind of investment, in this kind of infrastructures? Professor Teta.
Good morning, honorable ministers, honorable colleagues. Thank you for inviting me again. And I want to congratulate also the African Innovation for inviting me again to attend this meeting. After spending 22 years as Secretary of State and Vice Minister on Science and Technology, now I move to Sovereign Wealth Fund. We did a lot of projects in Angola on the last 10, 15 years. We make a lot of mistakes as well. And we saw many African countries like our brother Ghanaians and another country running very fast, and we have to catch up the roads. In Angola, we start investing on infrastructure, like fiber optics. We are connected on 4 major fiber optics because our position, our geographical position is help us to be connected. We start in 2001 to connect on SAT3. After that, we launched the WAX. And now we have the new fiber to connect to Brazil until Miami. We want to connect Africa with South America through Angola gateway. And to connect all rural areas, we launched with Russian government our own satellite, we call ANGOSAT. ANGOSAT, of course, we invite our brothers to join us to use the same infrastructure. And like the minister says in his speech, we have to share our infrastructure and to do same things. On IT, we start a few years ago to invest with GP, to deploy some computers at school. It was a program with the Ministry of Education. And we did more than 400 labs using computer with GP. And now the government, on the next 18 months, we are planning to build up the first factory for computer and tablets for school. And at the same time, we are launching now a new project we call Smart Kids. Is to train kids from 6 to 14 years old on coding, on Matific, for example. And this project is calling Smart Kids. Okay, we start with 2 centers, and now we will increase the number. A few years ago, I was coordinating as well the Mediateca project. I was presented in Kenya, I think, the last innovation. And now we want to improve this project to transform a little bit as an innovation hub, okay, for youngs. We have a lot of projects running, but Angola, as you know, we had election last year, and now we are privatizing a lot of companies. More than 195 companies are open for investors to come. And the role of Sovereign World Fund is to invest in social and economic development. Of course, we are looking partners. Our mission is to invest not just in Angola, but also abroad and mainly in Africa. Okay? We are proud to come in different countries in Africa to find partners, to try to invest and to co-invest in technology, in university innovation hubs. This is our priority now, looking for that. For me, it's a pleasure because I moved from science, Minister of Science, I moved to IT, and now I'm on the financial sector. Okay, I can see the difference. I can help the universities. I can help the innovation sector. I can work together. I think different countries, you have to create this kind of funds to support innovation, to support ICT. And we want also to launch a new project because our big challenge is human capital. This is our big challenge. And vocational training. We did some mistake, we make some mistake in the past because we create a lot, number of universities, but they don't have skills, real skills. And now we want to launch some labs around the country for vocational training to create real skills. Okay, for example, in IT, most of people were importing skills from abroad. This is very expensive for that. When I saw the Ghanaian minister saying that most of the software in Ghana is done by Ghanaian, I'm very proud and congratulations, Minister. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I think the challenge of vocational training is transversal to the whole continent. It's not only for your country. Unfortunately, I think they are facing the same issue in other countries. Moving to second question, Minister of Communication of Ghana. Ghana has launched the Common Platform, which is a major step for the realization of the government vision of a digital Ghana. What measurable outcomes are bringing benefits to Ghana, Honorable Minister?
Thank you very much for this. It's helped the regulator, the National Communications Authority, have an independent means of verifying the traffic volumes declared by the telecoms companies. So they'll send their CDRs, but then it provides real-time verification because it's plugged, the system is plugged into the billing notes, and so it can have an independent view of what's happening on their network to provide the revenue authority also with revenue assurance so that whatever tax revenues are due the state, they can compute it independently of what is being declared by the companies. And we've made significant savings because we've seen an alignment with the declarations made either before the system was put in place and after. And they're declaring more accurately now. And it's projected that the system would have made a savings of over 1.5 billion cedis over 5 years since it was put in place. So we're quite happy with it. Not only that, it also provides us with traffic monitoring in addition to the revenue assurance. And fraud detection as well to fight against SIM box fraud. And it has a geolocation capability, so we can detect exactly where the SIM boxing is coming from and move against it. It also monitors mobile money transactions as well and provides the Bank of Ghana with more accurate assessment of what is actually happening on the various platforms. It would also help the revenue authorities if they watch the trends to see whether people are actually above or below the tax line, depending on the volumes and values of transactions that move across the various wallets. So it's a very useful system that we've put in place. And the base system can also be, other services can also be layered onto that system. And we're exploring the possibilities of expanding its use to provide more functionality for the state.
That's very important and allow me to interact. I saw you have the highest penetration of mobile phones. You have 100% of penetration of mobile phones in your country, but you have a huge work on, because you only have 10% of internet coverage so far. So you have a huge work to do to raise this percentage of internet coverage.
Opportunities as
Yes,
well for all of us here. And it seems we have an insatiable appetite for data. And the more you provision the systems, the more it is used up. So I see enormous opportunity there for either the services that people would use when they have access to data services and all of that. And that creates opportunities for several of the companies in this room. We also want to build technology parks around the country and ICT parks around the country. The one we have in Accra is full to capacity, choked. And they have a long waiting list. And there's a clamor around the country for that to be done as well. And I think, and I'm sure we all agree, that Africa is the next frontier. This is where the mega profits are going to be made in this our sector. And this is where our young people are also going to get more opportunities to innovate and grow and excel. And this is, when we talk about leapfrogging with technology, we're living witnesses of it. And we must seize this opportunity to provide the professional skills, the digital skills that our young people need, the infrastructure, build upon it the services that we would use, and utilize the human resources that we have on this continent for the benefit of not just ourselves, but the whole world. And it is like we see the potential out there. We should stop talking about potential and start realizing that potential through concrete programs and policies that we put in place.
I think it's the time for the continent to demand all the international companies to establish on continent.
Absolutely.
And of course they will look which the country with best skills, programmers, they will need to establish in continent. So it's like a race. All the countries are doing the best to have a next generation able to work on those companies. Thank you, Your Honor. Moving for second question with Honorable Minister of State of Somalia. What partnership with industry in Somalia planning to ensure your citizens to have access to requisite digital technologies, allowing them to innovate and become digital entrepreneurs in your country, Your Honor?
Thank you very much. All the investment in fiber optic is currently led by the private sector. The cabinet recently approved in Somalia first ICT policy and strategy, which noticed the need to ensure that citizens have access to digital technologies, allowing them to innovate. Currently, we are 4 innovationists, and universities are currently establishing their own hubs. Our ministry is planning to guide the innovation ecosystem and give them incentives. The policy stipulates that by 2024, all secondary schools should have internet access. Our ministry is planning to provide incentives to companies that are going to build broadband backbone in Somalia. We are also working with international partners to build the fiber optic cables that only cater to the needs in Somalia, but also can benefit the entire Horn of Africa region.
Thank you, Your Honors. Moving for a second question, Honorable Deputy Minister of Information and Communications from Sierra Leone. You have received funds from World Bank to build its communication infrastructure in order to provide internet access to all your citizens in your country. Yet some rural areas are near to the equalizer and remain unserved. What are the efforts that your ministry are doing to improve the internet penetration in your country?
Thank you again. Our government recognized, that affordable, accessible, and reliable broadband ecosystem is fundamental, to achieve an all-inclusive digital economy. Now in Sierra Leone, we have an encouraging 88.5% broadband penetration. We have mobile voice connectivity is at 88.5, and broadband penetration is at 13.5%, with only about 5.6% of households having access to computers. So we are taking concrete steps to increase, penetration, as well as to connect these unconnected and unserved communities through the following. Now we're completing the national terrestrial fiber backbone laying, about 700 kilometers of fiber to connect 5 districts, which will increase the fiber reach to 1,800 kilometer coverage, covering 12 out of 16 districts. So as I speak, we have received funding from the China Exim Bank to kickstart this work. The same project will be implementing the provincial metro fiber ring for our major cities, to improve rollout of last mile services. We are also extending, the government is extending the common wide area data network to local councils and remaining districts. We have created a more focused Universal Access Development Agency to implement our universal access obligations. We have reviewed our license regimes to facilitate the creation of local community-based service providers to promote rural, access. So the implementation of these actions will deliver a long-term contribution, such as minimizing the cost of access to ICT services, and hence widening the geographic scope of access to ICT telecom services, create new ICT-related SMEs, deepen regional and national socio-economic integration, and support economic growth. So these are some of the things that we are working on right now.
I think it was a deep dive on all the opportunities you can have for our partners here.
Absolutely. So we look forward to more engagements.
Yes.
Ours is a government that is very interested in ICT. So when you have the first gentleman, the president, having keen interest in using ICT to roll out our development aspirations, I think it's a very good and welcoming, news for us as people of Sierra Leone. And of course, you know what it means when somebody like the president taking interest in, leapfrogging our development aspirations. So we are open to, discussions, because that is what we believe will also help us as we work towards achieving some of the things that we have set out in our development plan.
And it was the president that made the statement of national ICT policy, so it's like his legacy to the country, so doing this improvement in country.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Second question, Professor Pedro Teta. What opportunities are there for the private sector to work with your sovereign fund and also with the government to develop digital skills across Angola. You already explained a few ones, but please try to give us some ideas how we can, the private companies here present on this forum can work with Angola Sovereign Fund.
Sorry. Yes, thank you very much for the second question. Angola framework for investment now is much, much easier. As you know, before it was very difficult to come in Angola. The visa was a problem. Now you don't need, you can get your visa in 24 hours. You have the e-visa already installed. You can get electronically your visa. The cost for hotels also go down. You can come more easily to invest in Angola. And on ICT, now we are launching the new tender for the fourth operator in telecom. I think it's a big opportunity. The government also is leaving most of the public company. We are privatizing all this company. I think we have more or less 5 IT company on the way to be privatizing till 2021. We have TV Cabo is one of the company with Portuguese company. We have a partnership with Telecom. 50% of the share will be privatized. We have Unitel as well, one of the biggest operators on ICT. They have 14 million users. I think 25% of this company will be is opportunity for company to come and to attend this tender. We have MS Telecom is a IT company run by oil company, but now you want the oil company to focus just on this business oil, not doing many things like before. For that we have a lot of opportunity to come and to invest. Regarding the fund, sovereign wealth funds, our job is to invest to increase the money we receive, because the government give us $5 billion to invest for next generations. Of course, we are looking partners. They want to co-invest with us. Okay, not just, as I said before, not just in Angola, but even in another brother country. We are open to find ways to come together and to invest.
We have good ideas here. So
yes, I get
I think they are open to your sovereign fund to invest.
Yes, normally we are looking partners. We never go alone. We can invest with another funds, with government, with private companies. Okay, but regarding the market, Angolan market, you are welcome anytime, please. If you have good ideas, if you want to avoid some political risk, we are there to cover the political risk, because Angola's sovereign wealth fund is putting his money. Okay, and also because we know exactly the potentiality of the ICT sector. Okay, we are looking big opportunity to invest on this area. What I can say more? Welcome, come and join us to invest together.
Okay, I think we close the question now. We're going to have now a little video from our company, and after we can open for some questions from the delegates. So GP, it's one of the main leader on digital literacy program in Kenya, with the high partnership of Kenya Institute Curriculum Development, KICD, providing so far more than 700,000 tablets in Kenya. We are now going to play a little video with our manifesto that celebrates our 10th anniversary, sharing our vision and approach to education projects. And
every child has a dream. Every teacher has a mission. Education is not the same for everyone. Not everyone has the right to education. 10 years ago, we embraced a challenge. We were and we will always be pioneers. 10 years ago, we risked bringing quality education to every child in the world. We jumped from Portugal to the world to inspire access to knowledge. Why? We believe technology can transform education. We believe education can transform the world. We believe in a kinder society, more tolerant, more inclusive, in a happier world for everyone. We are dreamers, fearless, adventurers. We have a little of mad genius mixed with a huge heart. We believe, let's go further. Let's go where nobody else goes. We believe in the uniqueness of our differences. Our differences unite us. We are always side by side. We believe in the power of technology in education, in development of our children, in the power that each child has in making a difference in the world. For the children, for the teachers, for us, for our community, for our world, for our future. This is our story.